Hi, Holly Perkins, and we are now in the throes of holiday season, social gatherings, and eating away from the home. So, I have some tips that are going to help you navigate this time of year more successfully in terms of eating and staying on track. We all know that you're going to get the best results and see the most success the more you can eat food that you prepared in your home. It's really radical. As often as you can, prepare food from home and take it with you. If that is your strategy, the majority of your life, you're going to be able to navigate the holiday parties, the meals at restaurants in the season a little bit better because it will be less of the time. It's more of a challenge when you're eating a lot of your meals in restaurants. It's really hard to stay on track. But today, I've got some tips and some tools to really help you navigate this. So number one, as you know, I am a big proponent of eating according to a macronutrient approach. This means that every single time you're eating, you are strategically choosing a certain amount of protein, a certain amount of carbohydrate, and a little bit of fat every single time you eat. And you are proportioning those as per your own goals. So it's critical that every time you eat at home or at social gatherings, that you're keeping an eye towards this notion of a little bit of protein, paired with some healthy carbohydrates and a little bit of fat. Here is a great way to do it. So rule number one, and this is what works great most of the time, is as often as you can, eat before you go to your gathering. Even if your gathering is a meal and you know that it's going to be expected of you to eat, it's a really good idea to eat beforehand so that you don't show up hungry. And if you show up at this gathering kind of not hungry, you're going to eat a little bit less and you can still eat with the event, whatever the social gathering is. But it's a great way to reinforce yourself so that you're solid going into the cocktail party or the dinner or the birthday celebration or the holiday. The second thing is, if there's going to be alcohol, make sure that you are absolutely not drinking alcohol on an empty stomach. That means if you need to stuff some turkey breast in your mouth in the car before you go into the cocktail party, good. Or when you arrive at the cocktail party, when you grab your glass of wine, look around and see if they've got some chicken skewers or some kind of protein to counterbalance the carbohydrates that are in the alcohol. Alcohol on an empty stomach is the kiss of death because it throws your blood sugar out of whack. The next thing is when you arrive at your event, in the back of your brain, kind of be surveying the scene to determine what is going to be your protein. So if you're showing up for a restaurant meal and you sit down and you have your glass of wine and a chicken skewer, you look at the menu and the very first question is, what is going to be my protein tonight? And you can choose that protein based on your preference or your eating style, but you have to first identify your protein and then identify how can I work in some vegetables? How can I work in a healthy starchy carb like brown rice, potato, sweet potato, quinoa, squash, beans, some healthy, substantial starchy carbs. Now, the fat in restaurants and social gatherings, you pretty much don't have to worry about because it always works its way into the meal. So you don't have to make sure that you're incorporating it. It will be there. Just make sure that you're choosing food items that look like they're low fat. Most of us know that bacon is not low fat. A pasta Alfredo is not low fat. You know and have your own resources to navigate the fat content, but really try to be identifying lower fat sources with protein being number one. Work in those vegetables and make sure you get some starchy carbohydrates. Another favorite tip and practice of mine when I go to a restaurant is I allow myself one of these three. I allow myself alcohol or bread or dessert, never all three. And if I'm really splurging, sometimes I'll let myself have two of those. But I usually say which is one of those things that I really want tonight and I get one of the three and that is it. Another thing that you can do is called poverty macros. So if you know you have an event at night and you're going to eat and you want to eat, what you can do is strategically eat less during the day before you go. Stay on your macros all day and try to hit your macros when you get to the event. But if you undereat during the day and you show up not super hungry, you can still have a larger sized meal and it's going to work into your day's total calories. And always make sure that you're drinking lots of pure, clean, flat water throughout the evening because sometimes dehydration shows up as hunger. You might think you're hungry, but you're actually a little bit dehydrated, especially if you're having some alcohol. So hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. I hope this helps. I would love to hear from you. Please share your thoughts by adding a comment below on the blog. And as you know, I'm going to be talking about this topic even more in depth and taking your questions tomorrow live. Every Wednesday, I am live at 4 p.m. Eastern on Facebook and Instagram. I'm going to be talking even more about this topic. And if you're there, I will be able to answer your questions. I hope to see you then.